All right, another entertaining week in the NFL. Today we're talking about the Ravens' redemption, a lot of QB injuries, the Colts near miss, and trouble for Tua, and why I couldn't be happier to apologize to Raiders fans. Coming up. All right, here we go. Welcome back to another edition of the Horsemen Pro Football Talk podcast. This is week 3 of the 2021 season. I'm Brad.
This is Zach.
And I'm Hefe.
Hey, we are growing, and we have you to thank for that. You can find us on YouTube, Horsemen Sports. You can find us wherever you download your favorite podcasts. Search for Horsemen Sports. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at
Horsemen Sports.
Horsemen Sports. Also, we are excited to announce that you can catch our show Thursday afternoons at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on WUBI Radio. More information at WUBI.live. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you never miss an update. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, head on over to YouTube and help us out. We appreciate the support. And we want to thank you for our growth and helping us get the word out. Please keep sharing your favorite episodes with your friends. And who else?
Your grandma.
Your grandma. The last thing before we get started on these games, we have a new leader in the Pigskin Pick'em, the week 2 winner that we announced. And remember, you have to play and you have to win to get your name announced. And if you're in second place, nobody cares. It's the first place loser. This week, big shout out to Zach. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Zach.
Thank you. I only missed 4 picks. Granted, the Packers have to beat the Lions Monday night, but I will be available for autographs here shortly. Just line up. The line's already wrapping around the building. Be more than happy to sign it for you. I'm not overall leader yet. I'm tied for 3rd. I'm only a game behind, but boys, I am coming. So you better get it right this coming week.
All right. So with that said, who is our overall leader? Let's give them a shout out.
We got T. Haney 44 at 19-12, and Indie Sports Shamans Picks 1, who is also 19-12.
All right, so that's Todd Haney in 2nd and James Klaus in 3rd.
Shout out.
Big shout out to both of them, and we won't talk about where Hefe and I are until we get some normalcy in these freaking games.
Yeah, no kidding. I think this is going to be the week, though. I'm going to be on the plus side after this week.
All right. Okay. So a little better week, right? A little more normal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And incredibly exciting. There's some really, really good games. Washington football team and the Giants. And the Ravens got a little bit of redemption last night over KC with a big win.
Yeah, they did. Unfortunately, I turned it off with 5 minutes ago, struggling to stay awake. It seems like this has happened. This happened last week, too. I turned it off and something bad or something good happened, something exciting, and I just completely missed it. So I missed the whole last 5 minutes, absolutely regretting it when I woke up and heard the news.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a story for you whippersnappers about that. Of course, you both probably know what I'm talking about. I almost turned a Monday night game off once, the Colts. And was it the Bucs?
Buccaneers, yeah. Buccaneers.
Yeah, and I remember laying in bed watching the game, and I'm glad I stayed up. It's one of those moments I'll never forget. I say I'll never forget it, but I had to ask you. I had to make sure it was the Bucs. One of these days, I won't even remember who you are probably. So anyway, I have to take care of some business, don't I? Everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think we have a Raiders fan that deserves an apology.
Man, I'm a man of my word. Last week we recorded earlier on Monday before that impressive Raiders win against the Ravens last week, and we all picked the Steelers to beat the Raiders this week, and we upset some Raiders fans. You know, they're hyped for the season, and they're a little on the defensive side, and rightfully so. You know, what they didn't know is that we were riding high on the Raiders all last year, and we were disappointed the second half of the season, as I'm sure they were. But they didn't. And Hefe, you're a big Derek Carr fan, right?
Yep.
Most of these people don't know that, and you guys know I'm a huge Chucky fan. I'd love nothing more than to see the Raiders win big, but they've been stuck, and I haven't been convinced, and I'm still not completely convinced Anyway, during some friendly banter back and forth on our Facebook page, which you should go follow if you don't already, because obviously you're missing out because you have no idea what I'm talking about. I have to explain this to you. I bet a Raiders fan that the Raiders lost to the Steelers, he would come onto the show and publicly apologize to us. But if the Raiders won, we would publicly apologize to him, or I would publicly apologize to him. And I'm a man of my word. So Isaac Uranga, my man, I humbly apologize. You were right. We were wrong. The Raiders got it done. 2 weeks in a row against two really big wins for them. Honestly, I've rarely been so happy to apologize for anything in my life. The Raiders are 2-0, and I like it. Thanks for being a part of the show, Isaac. You keep following us. Keep talking with us. We're looking forward to discussions in the future. So, and that's that. All right, you guys want to get in the games now?
Do it.
All right. Panthers at the Texans coming up this week. Dude, is Sam Darnold for real? Is this for real? Is it? I mean, is this legit? Is this going to stick? Are we ushering in a new era in Carolina?
Sure seems like the Gase effect is what happened to Sam Darnold. He's not turning the ball over, and I mean the Saints have a really good defense, and he was able to pick them apart.
Yeah, Zach, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, Sam Darnold, he's a legitimate quarterback. And I kind of said this around draft time that when the Jets were deciding whether to keep Sam Darnold or not, like they should have traded that pick away, kept Sam Darnold, and they could have got a huge treasure haul just off that second overall pick alone.
Yeah.
And they'd be in a lot better position than they are now, which we'll get to later with Zach Wilson throwing 4 interceptions. But yeah, I think Sam Darnold's a legitimate quarterback. Is he elite? No, that's yet to be seen, but he's more than capable of getting done, and he's proven that.
Yeah, and to your point, just to play devil's advocate, Darnold may have just wanted out of New York completely. I mean, that may have soured so bad he may have been like, I don't care what.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I need to get out, and so just that change of scenery might be a big. We'll never know. Well, maybe we will know. Maybe he'll hop on. Maybe he follows us on Facebook and he'll hop on and have a discussion there. Anyway, Winston is back to his old form. He threw 2 interceptions. Just got. He had 100 yards. I think Darnold. I think ended up with over 300 yards, didn't
he? Yeah, he had 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, an interception. He was 26 for 38.
Yeah. So the Panthers are 2-0, and they're tied at the top of the NFC South with Tampa. I mean, they beat the Saints. I mean, that's interdivision. They beat the Saints, and they're 2-0 at the top. I don't know what else more you want to say. They, at this point, they are legitimate division contenders. I mean, I use that term loosely. I think the Bucs are going to lock.
Still got to go through the Bucs.
Yeah, but I mean, things look good in Carolina. They look good. It's promising for them, and it's early. I don't mean to be over dramatic and all that, but I'm impressed. The Texans, not so much. I don't even want to talk about them. I'm taking the Panthers.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the Panthers as well. The Texans, they haven't really looked bad, surprisingly. I think I predicted them to win 1 game all season long. They got that done in the first week, and then they didn't look too bad against the Cleveland Browns, but I'm pretty sure Tyrod Taylor's going to be out this coming week, so that's definitely not going to help their cause. So I'm going to roll with the Panthers going 3-0, and that's quite surprising because I didn't have the Panthers doing very well this season either, so hats off to them.
Yeah, if Tyrod Taylor was playing, I would have a little more confidence in thinking that maybe there's an upset in this game. But with him not there, I'm just not confident in picking against the Panthers. They look really strong. Their defense looks better this year than it was last year. That team is really young, and then they got Matt Rule in there, and in their second year with him and all his coaches, seems that they're really coming together, starting to play better, and the coaches have done a good job in developing all those young players. So I think they get a pretty easy win on Thursday night.
Yeah, and just to acknowledge the rumor, there's a buzz that the Texans may end up going with Watson.
Not going to happen. That's a PR nightmare waiting to happen right there.
Yeah, I think you're right. But and we're going to talk more about Watson later in the show. All right, next up, Washington football team at Buffalo Bills. You know, Washington had a big win. A big win. It was a great game. Did you guys stay up and watch that?
Sure did.
Yeah, it was. God, what an exciting game! I mean, as excited as the Raiders win on Monday. I think there was something like 5 lead changes in the fourth quarter. But anyway, big win. Getting better, and Heineke looks like he has something to prove. Like he's ready to play in this league. We'll see. It's early, but you know, I was impressed with what I saw. But this is Buffalo, and they apparently figured out whatever it was that needed figured out, and made a clear and definite statement by pounding Miami's ass yesterday. 35-0, right?
Yep.
You know, Buffalo doing things the way we expected them to do. You know, they are who they thought we were. How does that go? They are who we thought they were. I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, so what's scary about Buffalo, they dropped 35 on a pretty good defensive Miami team. I know Tua was hurt, but that's here nor there. I'm talking about the defense. And Buffalo dropped 35 on them, and Josh Allen didn't even have a good game. He was 17 for 33, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That is not MVP-like numbers. So when he starts snapping, watch out. This Buffalo Bills team is going to be hot. And I think it's going to happen this week. So I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I do want to say that Washington is doing phenomenal so far. I do think they will end up winning this NFC East. But that's later on in the season. Buffalo's this week.
Yeah, you know, I feel a lot of the same way that Zach does there. I just think, you know, even though Josh Allen isn't playing like an MVP and didn't have an MVP-like game that we kind of all expect to see from him, you know, they still found a way to win 35-0 in Miami. So when you go on the road, do that to a team. I mean, it makes a statement. You know, their defense looks to be back. You know, again, Tua got hurt. Jacoby had to play. Jacoby didn't do anything, obviously. Going up against what I think is a stronger team against Washington this week, so they'll be tested a little more. But I do think Buffalo wins this game.
Okay, we all three agree. Take the Bills. Next up, Bears at Browns. It appears that Fields is going to play. Has there been an update on Dalton? I meant to check a few minutes ago and I forgot.
I know that he didn't tear his ACL or anything. So right now it's more of would be a pain threshold kind of thing, and how can he move and whatnot.
Yeah,
because he tried to play through the injury in yesterday's game, but just couldn't move in the pocket at all, so he had to come out.
Yeah. Either way, I just don't think the Bears. I don't think the Bears are awful. I just don't think they're good, and the Browns are, and they're in Cleveland. This is a no-brainer. Browns fans have another week of celebrations, another week of probably many more to come this season.
Yeah, the Browns are 1-1. They lost their week 1 matchup against Kansas City Chiefs. That's completely understandable, but they're looking pretty good. This run game is off the charts with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and Baker Mayfield last week against the Texans was 19 for 21, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception on his 2 incompletions. So he's playing phenomenal. The run game is playing phenomenal. The receivers are catching the ball. They spread it to 3, 6, 9, 10 different receivers last week. So this offense is looking great. As far as the Bears, I like Justin Fields. I think he's the right move if he's going to be the starter. I just don't see them getting it together in time to beat the Cleveland Browns because they are one of the hottest teams in football.
Yeah, and you know, from what we saw with Justin Fields going against the Bengals defense, it looked pretty clear that there's some things he's going to have to work on. Obviously, getting first team reps is going to be a big deal, and actually being in the lineup with these guys. But you know, from what I saw from Justin Fields, gave me no confidence that if he is a starter, that they're going to be able to go into Cleveland and win this game. Cleveland is a powerhouse. Their defense is going to be really good. They're going to be all over a rookie quarterback. So I'm going to go with the Browns in this one.
All right. You should take the Browns. We're all taking the Browns. You should take the Browns. All right. Next up, Ravens at Lions. You know, speaking of which, before I even start, we're taking the Ravens. You should take the Ravens. But when I originally started putting my thoughts together last night, I was watching the Chiefs and Ravens game, and I had made a note to make a point to praise the Ravens for putting up a hell of a fight against the Chiefs after a hell of a fight against what is probably looks like to be a pretty damn good Raiders team. And I was going to mention how crazy it was that they were 0-2. Well, they aren't. Another exciting game this week that the Ravens showed us. Lamar Jackson, I just a couple times he had a couple moves. I just shaking my head. I just can't believe he's just fun to watch. He's amazing. I think they're showing, not only proving to us, but they're proving to themselves that they're a force to be reckoned with. Had they started 0-2, it wouldn't have been a complete disaster numerically, but it could have done severe damage to their morale and their confidence, and especially Lamar Jackson's. I mean, he with the last two seasons, the last two playoff appearances, an early exit, a disappointing early exit, and then to come out now and start 0-2, it could have done a number on his head. And we've talked about this many times. If Tom Brady doesn't get the Tuck rule bullshit called in his favor, if he doesn't go on to win that first Super Bowl, if Chucky and the Raiders get it, if he doesn't win the first, does he win any of the others? I mean, it's a rhetorical question that we'll never answer. I'll ask the question as long as I live, over and over and over. But it's the point that any one thing changes, it has a potential to change anything. It's called the butterfly effect. And I don't know that he mentally they would have been able to pull that back together. But I'm telling you what, none of that matters. I mean, they just made the season more interesting. They believe they can win everything. They've got me believing that they can win everything. It's a long season. I'm not trying to blow them up bigger than they are. But it was a big win, and they're going to just absolutely throttle the Detroit Lions. Currently we have a four-way tie in the AFC North. Are they all 1-1?
I think so.
Yeah. So it's going to be another dogfight. It always is. But I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah, obviously I'm going to go with the Ravens too. The thing about the Baltimore Ravens, half their team is injured or on the IR, and yet they just took down the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night. Absolutely blows my mind. They had a hell of a rushing game, total of 251 yards. Of course, Lamar Jackson had 107 of that and 2 touchdowns, but their 4th, 5th, 6th string running backs still managed to put up 144 yards, which is phenomenal for being 4th, 5th, and 6th string. So when you have guys pulling their weight like that on the depth chart, you have Lamar Jackson looking like Lamar Jackson from his MVP season. This Baltimore Ravens team's just going to be pretty dangerous going forward.
Yeah, especially if Hollywood Brown can keep playing consistently the way he did against the Chiefs. I mean, Hollywood Brown finally balled out, was kind of the star, looked like the star that everybody expected him to be. So if he just needed a number change and a new season, maybe some other castmates, you got to pay attention to Sammy Watkins on the field. So having some people around on some other good wideouts maybe opens up for Hollywood Brown going forward. But if he can sustain what he did last night, they're going to be dangerous. I mean, they're already the best rushing team in the league. They're going to be real dangerous in the air.
Agreed. All right. So we're taking the Ravens. You should take the Ravens too. I think deja vu. I think I said that a few minutes ago. Next up, Colts and the Titans. The Colts were their own worst enemy again yesterday. I don't know. A turnover on downs after 1st and goal from the 1, interception at the goal line, and the next drive. I mean, both drives just looked beautiful and squandered at the end. It obviously changed the entire course of the game. And they were still in a position to win when Wentz came out of the game. And now I want to say a few things. Shocker, right? First, I'm going to preempt this with Eason was put in a horrible situation. It reminds me when Matt Painter was thrown into some horrible 3rd and long back up against the goal line situation, and he got rushed, and it probably just ruined his head for his career. I don't know that he would ever made it in the NFL. I don't know that he wouldn't have at least been a backup somewhere. But I'm telling you, throwing that guy into that situation didn't help his career. I thought about that yesterday when Eason went in. But on the flip side, that's what Eason's there for, and he certainly did not rise to the challenge yesterday. It shows how valuable Wentz is. So after Eason's flub when it counted the most, and Brissett just absolutely having his ass handed to him yesterday by the Bills, can we please, Indianapolis fans, please stop talking about anyone else as the primary quarterback in Indianapolis other than Carson Wentz? Can we call this one game over? I guess Wentz has to come back before we can do that, right? But look, this is the guy. We talked about this. It's ride or die. Reich's riding with this guy. Unless he can't play, he's going to play. But now we're waiting on word for the injury. I thought there'd be an update today, but there isn't one, is there?
I didn't see one, though.
The update for today is that he has sprained both of his ankles, presumably probably on that one play with Aaron Donald. But there's no timetable. It sounds like there's a chance he'll be able to play in week 3, but Frank Reich isn't really giving out any details right now.
Well, my concern with that is with coming back. I'm glad it's not broken. Sometimes breaks are way nastier than sometimes bad sprains are worse than a break. I guess we need to keep that in perspective. But I'm glad it's not broken. Because you have to wait for a bone to heal. I don't know how bad this sprain is. My only concern is that it was bad enough that he didn't go in the dire situation where they needed him to go in. And if it hurt that bad to not put him in, I don't know how it's going to be ready this week. Unless somebody's playing mental games and they're like, Eason's got it. He can take care of it, which was not the case. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm concerned about this guy's durability. I tried to just kind of work through that as people talked about it when we brought him here. It's our second injury. We're in week 2. I'm really, really concerned. But the Titans beat the Seahawks, which pisses me off. I told you it would piss me off, and it pisses me off. If the Colts were in a position to beat the Rams, but especially if Wentz is out, I'm taking the Titans. I'm really struggling. But if Wentz isn't playing, I'm definitely taking the Titans. If Wentz is playing, I might still take the Titans. I don't know yet. I'll have to. That's a game time decision. That's all I got.
The problem with the Colts, there's besides Carson Wentz, obviously that's a big one. He's the quarterback. He has played well, even though he had that interception against the Rams. That was more of a Jack Doyle getting clipped on his route and it just getting picked off. I mean, how often do you see that happening?
Yeah. And I want to be clear. I'm not ripping. It's just it's a red zone problem. We have a red zone problem.
Oh, absolutely.
That needs to be fixed. And I'm not. It doesn't. And the guy still didn't play preseason. He's still trying to get used to the team. I mean, I haven't forgotten that either. So.
Yeah, and I mean the red zone problem kind of does fall back on Frank Reich. I saw a lot of people on social media that just completely blasted him, calling for him to get fired. Even I mean, you know how Colts fans are. But I do think
criminy.
I do think there needs to be better play calling, especially in the red zone. I don't think after we tried to pound it in 3 times in a row, I don't think a play action bootleg was the best decision. I can understand why, because they're expecting you to run right up the middle again. But I don't know. I mean, that can go either way. We do have a red zone problem. We saw that in the game with the Seahawks in the first week as well. Also, our tackles and our offensive line need to do better, especially on the right tackle side. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. In 2 games, he's given up 13 pressures. You cannot have that. So going forward, especially with this game with the Titans, if Wentz isn't playing, I'm going to take Tennessee all day. If Wentz is playing, our defense has to step up They have to step up, and they did better this last game. They held Matthew Stafford 19 of 30, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. They only got 101 yards rushing on the Colts. So this defense has to step up, especially going against Derrick Henry, Julio Jones, and A.J. Brown. So I think the Colts, even though they're 0-2, they're still a good team. They almost just what?
I thought you were going. You hesitated. I thought you were going to say the Titans. Did you, Hefe?
It sounded like he was about to.
Yeah, I thought you were.
Say the Titans for what?
You paused and hesitated. I thought you were going to say, I got to take the Titans, but you didn't.
I mean, I haven't made my pick yet.
Okay, fair enough.
Nah, I don't know. I lost where I was going with that. I'm just sitting here rambling. But I mean, the Colts play well. They almost beat the Los Angeles Rams, and I've been saying the Rams are Super Bowl contenders. So even though we're 0-2, it's not yet time to panic unless Carson Wentz is for real hurt. Then it's time to panic. But I don't think Carson Wentz is going to play, so I'm taking Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm pretty hopeful, obviously, that Carson Wentz is going to play in this game, and feel a lot of the same ways that you guys do. Unfortunately, if he's not there, it's hard to see us beating the Titans. Because Derrick Henry, he found it again. Whatever it was, he found it in the second half of that game against the Seahawks. Had something crazy just in the second half, was like 147 yards and 3 touchdowns, something wild just in the second half, and obviously carried them into overtime where they were able to get that win. And part of that is the Seahawks fumbling that away too. They had that one in their grasp. But like I said, Carson needs to be better protected. And if it's Eason's going to have to be protected. I'm very hopeful that Braden Smith comes back this week. I'm hopeful that Xavier Rhodes is going to come back this week. It'd be nice to get these guys back in the lineup. They're pretty vital to the team. So, if these guys are out again, I'm going to switch my pick to the Titans, but I'm a Colts fan. So right now I'm taking the Colts.
All right. Zach, did you said the Titans? Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, unless Carson Wentz is playing, then I'll reconsider it. But I don't think he's going to play.
Yeah, I'm telling. If Wentz plays, I don't know that I'll take the Colts, only because it's in Tennessee and the Colts just they're going to get this red zone problem figured. I believe they're going to get it figured out. I just don't know they're going to have it figured out by Sunday.
Yeah, and you could look at who the Colts have played so far this season: the Seahawks and the Rams, especially the Rams, as good as their defense is and their offense. I mean, if they execute better in the red zone in both those games, they're at least in the Seahawks game. But definitely, I mean, you take a couple field goals when you get to the red zone instead of doing some wild shit, then you end up winning that game 30-27 instead of losing that game 27-24. So, between the coaching and the execution, like you, I do think it'll get better. But they've also played some top-notch opponents the first
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that completely. All right, Zach and I are taking the Titans for now, and Hefe is taking the Colts forever.
Yep, you already know.
All right, Chargers at the Chiefs. The Chargers played a tough game against Dallas, but initially fell. But the Chiefs are not the Cowboys, and the only thing the Chargers have going for them is that it's an interdivision game, but it's in Arrowhead, and I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chargers haven't looked bad. Justin Herbert, he played decently well against the Cowboys. He was 31 for 41, 338 yards, but he also had 2 interceptions. So, and the Chiefs, they're going to be out for blood this coming week, so watch out. Patrick Mahomes and the boys are going to put it on the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers, they can't stop the run right now. They kind of what their defense was like last year. They can't stop the run. The Cowboys got a whole bunch of yards on them. Zeke and Tony Pollard combined for 180 yards. So, the Chiefs, aren't really a running team, but I think they'll be able to find their spots in the secondary. They're the Chiefs. It's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I'd like to say that the Chargers maybe pull an upset. I think it'll be an exciting game, but I think the Chiefs are going to win this one.
Okay, we're all three taking the Chiefs. Next up, the Saints at the Patriots. There's an old TV show called To Tell the Truth. Have you guys ever heard of this?
Mm.
It's an old game show, and they would have 3 guests on, and they would all claim to be this one person, the same person. They would all claim to be the same person, and one of them was really the person. And then they would have contestants would be on, and they would ask these guys questions, trying to figure out which ones were lying and which one was telling the truth. And at the end of the show, they'd reveal who was telling the truth, and in dramatic fashion, the announcer would say, "Will the real so-and-so please stand up?" And there's a reason I just told you that story, because will the real Jameis Winston please stand up?
I figured that's where that was going.
Yeah. Man, I wanted to believe in this guy after last week. I love Sean Payton. I love what he's done in New Orleans. Winston has talent, and I want to believe in this guy. And he went right back to where he came from, and now he's going to Foxborough. And I ain't having it. I'm taking the Patriots.
Yeah, I really don't know where to go with this one. Obviously, the Saints looked phenomenal week 1, but then dumpster fire week 2 against the Panthers. Meanwhile, the Patriots put it on the Jets. Defensively, they had 4 interceptions, and they sacked Zach Wilson 4 times. So if they can put the pressure on Jameis Winston, force him to make interceptions, which I think Bill Belichick is more than capable of having his defense do that. I think it'll be an extremely low-scoring game because the defenses are both pretty good. But I'm also going to go with the Patriots.
Yeah, as much as I don't want to, I think I'm going to have to go with the Patriots too. I think the Saints will be better this week. They had 7 assistant coaches out that obviously affected them. Because they did
Good
a
point.
complete 180 from week 1 to week 2. You have to imagine that affected the game plan somehow. But like you said, Jameis turned back to the old Jameis, and Bill Belichick knows how to make life difficult for quarterbacks that have vulnerabilities. And just like Zach said, if anybody's going to figure it out, it'll be Bill Belichick. He'll scheme it up to do what he needs to do to win this game. And, the only worry I have with the Patriots about picking the Patriots in this game is the fact that they can't get the ball in the end zone either. They kicked, 5 field goals in this game, I think it was. And so, they're going to have to work on that and get better. But, assuming, again, Bill Belichick can do what he normally does, I think I have to go with the Patriots here.
Okay. Well, not only are we all 3 taking the Patriots, but this is like a monumental event that Hefe's going to take the Patriots. He doesn't like to do that.
No, not at all.
Patriots are favored by 3 points, and the over/under on this is only 43. So should be a pretty good defensive game, not offensively though.
Yeah, good deal. Okay, Falcons at Giants. The Falcons put up some points against the Bucs until they finally had enough of that, and then 2 pick sixes in about 3.5 minutes, and that'll certainly take the wind out of your sails for an entire season. But then again, the Giants did the same thing against Washington football team, which has a pretty good defense. But the Falcons' defense is not Washington. So from that standpoint, we'll call it even. I'm taking the home team, which is good because that's who my gut says to take anyway. Because I just think the Giants are better than the Falcons, and so I'm going to make this easy. I'm taking the Giants.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way you're feeling. I had better hopes for the Atlanta Falcons. They're just not showing any promise, and at least the Giants were in the game with Washington. Washington's a pretty good football team. So with that and the Giants being at home, I'm also going to go New York.
Yeah, it's just hard to go with the Falcons right now. Nothing we've seen has said that they could win this game, especially after how strong Daniel Jones coming off possibly the best game of his career. It is him and all his new weapons. Are they going to figure it out under Jason Garrett now and keep that going forward? And I think they'll have a good game here. The Falcons, like Brad mentioned, do not have a very good defense. So I think the Giants win this one pretty handily, especially if Matt Ryan is going to just throw the ball to the other team in the fourth quarter a couple times for touchdowns. You can't have that.
I said this yesterday, man. I feel sorry for that guy. he's like in my opinion, he's just like the only thing really holding that place together. Hopefully they can get that turned around. But we are all three taking the Giants. Next game up is the Bengals at the Steelers. This is a big AFC North matchup. I mean, there's a 4-way tie at 1-1. The Steelers, Big Ben had 300 yards yesterday, so they had a problem running the ball yesterday. The Raiders did a good job of shutting that down. But it is the Bengals, but it is interdivision. All bets go out the window when the Bengals and the Steelers play. Either team can win this game. The Steelers, they're not exactly a powerhouse. I mean, but they're always tough to beat, especially at home. But so I'm going to have to go with the Bengals. I guess a Bengals win here and the Browns win, then they'll be tied. What a weird division. Anyway, I'm going with the Steelers.
Yeah, so the T.J. Watt was out against the Raiders, which is a huge key player you just can't have out, which I think kind of led to the Raiders putting up as much as they did because he's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, or he will be, I should say. So the Pittsburgh Steelers wasn't as good as they typically are. I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming back. Hefe, correct me if you know otherwise. So I think he's going to be coming back. This Pittsburgh defense should be back to form. Joe Burrow had 3 interceptions against the Chicago Bears. He was also sacked 4 times. So if Pittsburgh could put that kind of pressure on Joe Burrow, make him make mistakes, there's no way that the Bengals are going to be able to outscore the Steelers. This will also be a low-scoring game. I think the over-under on it's like 44.5. So I might actually take the under on that. I'm not sure. I have to double-check. But, yeah, so I'm going to go with the Steelers in a pretty low-scoring game as well.
Yeah, if TJ Watt is missing this game, because I don't know, it seems unclear right now if TJ Watt's going to play or not. But if he's out, I'm certainly going to consider taking the Bengals. But especially with the Steelers at home and knowing Mike Tomlin's a great coach. They're coming off a loss. He's going to harp on the things they need to fix. Now, this run game, I don't know if they can fix the run game. It wasn't great last year. It's not looking good this year. I don't know what needs to change, but they got to figure out an answer for their run game some way, somehow. But it just feels like a game Mike Tomlin won't let his team lose is really why I'm picking the Steelers. But like I said, if TJ Watt's not playing, the Steelers secondary has been pretty suspect. They're going to need that pass rush to help out the secondary. So if he's not there, I might switch my pick to the Bengals. But right now, I'm on the Steelers.
All right, we all three agree this game can pretty much go either way, but probably going to go to the Steelers. All right, Cardinals at the Jags. Cardinals had a near miss, huh? How about those Vikings? Dude, everything I say, they do just the opposite. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't know what it is. It's every freaking time. I don't even want to talk about them. They give me anxiety. Anyway, Cardinals are 2-0. Kyler Murray had 400 yards yesterday, albeit with 2 picks, but 400 yards will buy you an extra interception in my book. They still almost gave it up, held on for the win. Trevor's still trying to figure things out. The Jags aren't good. Meyer's going to bolt before this is over. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Yeah, I can't really argue with you there. The Cardinals are flying high. I told you guys at the beginning of the season the Cardinals are underestimated, and Kyler Murray's playing lights out. Like you said, we'll ignore the 2 interceptions he threw there. Hopefully he can clean that up. But this Jags team's looking like they may just be the worst team in the league. Offensively, rushing-wise, they only had 75 yards on the day, 118 passing yards. They can't do anything offensively. They can't do anything defensively. So I agree with you. I think Urban Meyer will probably be out the door. If I was him, I'd be taking that USC job. But that's here nor there. This week, yeah, definitely taking the Cardinals.
He'll probably mysteriously have some kind of an emergency and have to leave mid-season.
Oh yeah, health reasons,
Yeah.
For a lot of you guys have pretty much hit the nail on the head here. Taking the Cardinals, obviously. Who would have guessed Trevor Lawrence would have 5 interceptions in his first 2 NFL games with all the hype that came around him, all the winning he's always done. I won't get down on him in his rookie season, especially with the team around him just not being that great. Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions in his rookie year, and he got his gold jacket. So, the jury's out on what's to come with that, but I do think he'll have a new coach sooner rather than later. I'm right there with you guys. But Kyler Murray, they're running into what's probably the early season MVP front runner. So I expect them to get slaughtered this weekend.
Does it pain you to say that, Hefe?
A little bit.
I thought so.
But, Rondale Moore, I think it should be mentioned. Rondale Moore came on, had a huge game for them. And with them already having DeAndre Hopkins, who scored another touchdown, they have A.J. Green, who is out there making a couple plays, and Christian Kirk, who's very explosive. They're pretty deep at receiver. They've done a good job drafting them and developing them. So that offense is probably, in my opinion, would probably have 30-plus every single week.
Fair enough, yeah.
All right, we're all three taking the Cardinals on that one. And next up, Jets at Broncos. Beelzebub did exactly what we said he was going to do, and Zach Wilson threw 4 interceptions. Zach, I don't even know I could get the ball off 4 times to get 4 interceptions. So, in that, not taking anything away from this kid, he went against a defensive GOAT. So now he's going up against another salty defensive veteran this week, who's no doubt already been studying film for the last 48 hours, and he's probably watched it 24 times already. Wilson's going to struggle again this week. Bridgewater has found a home. I mean, he had over 300 yards, had a really good game. He looks like he's settling into his own, and I'm buying what the Broncos are selling with Bridgewater in place. I think he just might have been what they needed. I'm not going to put him on an elite tier, but they're a disruptor, and disruptors can make weird shit happen in the playoffs. So I expect this game to be pretty much the same. Sorry, Benjamin. Jets are going to fall to 0-3. Broncos will remain undefeated in the top of the AFC West. It's crazy.
It is, and I can't really argue with you. You pretty much said everything I was going to say. Teddy Bridgewater's looking good. He was 26 for 34, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Can't get much better than that. The Denver defense is pretty stout, so the Jets just aren't going to be able to do anything. It's going to be another bad day for Zach Wilson. So I'm hammering the Broncos all day.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think Zach Wilson, another long day is right. I think he's going to get eaten alive. Von Miller looks to be like the old Von Miller again. He's going off. Hopefully Bradley Chubb, he was one of the very, very many players that got hurt in those 1:00 games. Hopefully he can come back, get in the lineup. I'm pretty sure he's currently questionable for the next game. And so hopefully he gets back, but either way, I don't really think it matters. What I want to see is the Broncos, when their schedule starts to get harder, can they beat the good teams? They're beating up some pretty weak teams right now, but they look good doing it. They seem balanced. Their running game's going. Both the running backs had 13 carries. They had a good bit of rushing yards. So as long as they stay balanced, have a good defense, they, who knows, maybe they can compete with the Chiefs for the division.
Or there's another team out there too.
Yeah, true. The Raiders could be right there. They look like it right now.
Yeah, this division is looking like it's going to shape up into a dogfight. You love to see it.
Yeah, them and the NFC West.
Yeah, yep, for sure. Okay, Dolphins at Raiders. Man, the Raiders are hot. 2 huge wins. They're 2-0. They look good. I don't know if they're just luck. I don't know if they're gelling, if they're peaking, or they're legit contenders. It's too early to tell. Remember last season they fell off, but it doesn't matter. Right now they got some mojo going. The Dolphins are coming off an ass whipping by the Bills. Tua's hurt. Originally I had heard it was a hip injury, and I thought, oh snap! See what I did there? It's a bad joke, huh?
Right, breaking your hip.
Yeah. I thought, snap, he's done. And I figured that Flores was on the sidelines on the horn and with Houston already, making flight arrangements for Watson. But The report I heard was wrong. It's a rib injury. I don't. Has there been an update today about whether it's a break?
No, it's not a break. I believe what I heard was that it's something to do with the rib cartilage. He's going to be sore for a while. And that's a kind of like the Andy Dalton thing, going to be a pain threshold. What can he deal with? Is it safe to put him out there? If the offensive line is getting him hit, probably not a good idea to have him out there at least for this week. Just let Jacoby ride it out, probably.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure Tua playing the whole game would have prevented anything that happened yesterday. I'm not sure Tua in the game this week would make a difference. I'm not sure Tua in the game at all is where the answer in Miami lies. I keep saying that. I don't want to be too critical of the kid. He still needs some time, but I'm just not sure. That 35-0 yesterday, that really shook my confidence with what's going on down there. There's no chance they beat the Raiders this week, in my opinion. I'm taking the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, it's to go back to what we were talking about earlier about our little online discussions with the Raiders fans. Like they're right. Out of all the 2-0,
his name's Isaac. Zach.
Isaac, yes, Isaac. By the way, kind of go off topic. That joke you made a few minutes ago, all them grandmas that you have been trying to get to watch this show the last however many weeks, they're all going to be pissed now. You're talking about breaking hips.
No, they can identify with that.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That works. All right, but but anyways, back to the Raiders and Isaac. The Raiders they look good. Out of all the 2-0 teams, they probably have the 2 highest quality wins against the Ravens and the Steelers. I feel like I did last year with the Raiders. They started off hot, but then they just completely dropped off. And I really hope that's not the case because they are talented. They are capable of winning. So I hope this continues. I think it will continue against the Dolphins because they seem to be going in the other direction, especially with Tua hurt. So I'm going with the Raiders this week to move to 3-0, and they're going to stay atop the division with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, in my opinion, the only chance the Dolphins have of being able to win this game would be, Derek Carr. He hurt his ankle. Sounds like he's probably going to play. But if he tweaks it and has to go out of the game, and Nathan Peterman, because Marcus Mariota just got put on the IR, I think on Friday or Saturday of last week. So Nathan Peterman would be the immediate backup now. And if he gets in the game, we've seen him in the past, and he loves to throw the ball to the other team.
I was about to say Nathan Peterman's still in the league. How is this possible?
Yeah, no, I don't know. John Gruden loves Nathan Peterman for some reason. He's talked about it in the media before. He has some weird relationship with Peterman, but as an NFL quarterback, not the guy you want in there. So that, the only chance I think they have of winning is Peterman's at quarterback, but like I said, I expect Josh Jacobs to be back this week. Derek Carr should be fine to go this week. And the Raiders keep on rolling, go to 3-0.
All right, we're all 3 taking the Raiders, moving to 3-0. All right, the Bucs at the Rams, game of the week right here, gentlemen.
Yeah, I was about to ask, is this the game of the week?
Yeah, I'm excited for this game. 2 of the league's premier quarterbacks going at it. One of them consistently in the conversation about who is the GOAT.
Peyton Manning.
Look, Hefe, you don't need to get your calculator out to figure that Brady and Gronk might get that record.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns a game. Yeah, they might.
They just might. They just might. And your uncle was disappointed you weren't here yesterday because he was going to tell you that. So I'm relaying that message to you as we were watching the game. I think the Bucs are better, but not by much, and they're on the road. I have to take the Bucs because the Rams should have, or I guess I should say could have, lost to the Colts yesterday. But which is not taking anything away from the Colts because I think Colts are one of the top teams in the league. I've lost a little bit of where I think they're at. They're not as high up there as I thought they were, but they're still one of the better teams in the league. Could have won that game. I think the Bucs are the best team in the league right now. Hefe, Brady is ridiculous, man. At some point, you're just going to have to just say, yeah, you're right. I just, dude, he's going to play until he's 50. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
And you know what? I believe him. I have, it's the first time. I mean, it's the first time I've heard an athlete say something ridiculous like that. And I thought, man, he might be able to do that. Did you?
The argument I've heard about that is the fact that there have been so many rules changed for Tom Brady, and now you can't even touch the quarterback. So all these guys are going to start playing till they're 50.
Yeah, good point. He actually tied the record for the most wins by 30 or more points at 8 games. Did you know that?
No, didn't know that.
Yeah. You know who held the previous record? Tom Brady.
Oh.
He said, oh.
Back in circa day 2010, dude, he's headed for number 8. That's all I got to say, man. He and Gronk, 2 more TDs yesterday, 2 a game. Quick maths. Anyway, I'm taking the Bucs, even though I have to go on record to say that the Rams are very capable of winning this game.
Yeah, you guys know how I feel about the Rams. They're one of the hotter teams out there, but they did show vulnerabilities against the Colts. The Colts left a lot of points off the board that they should have had, so they could have won that game. The Buccaneers definitely looking like the best team out there. They're coming off a Super Bowl win, as we all know. They're 2-0, and this Tom Brady, man. I'm looking at his overall stats so far. He has a 65% completion rate, 655 yards, 9 touchdowns. The projected stats on the year is 5,200 yards and 72 touchdowns. Obviously, he's probably not going to get that, but still, at his age, doing what he's doing, man, it's unbelievable. Hefe, you got to give the man props. The dude has, 7 Super Bowl rings now? He's on his way to number 8.
Dude, he's gonna own every passing record there is.
Yeah, I hated the guy. While he was in New England, I hated the guy, but you have to appreciate what he has done, even if he did cheat for X amount of years in New England.
Yeah, and he always has a really good offensive line, and now he has 3-star receivers.
Hey,
did Jameis Winston. I'm just saying.
The man took a pay cut. The man has taken a pay cut his entire career to have those players, so you can't fault him. I mean, I would too if I was married to a supermodel who makes more money than me, but.
Well, and Tom Brady, just like Jerry Rice, is playing forever, so the numbers are juiced.
Okay, fair enough, but still,
you're struggling, Hefe.
9 touchdowns in the first 2 games of the season,
and it's painful. I love you, bro, but it's the ship is sinking. Anyway, you got anything else you want to say, Jeff? We'll stop. I promise. Well, I would. Well, maybe. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, I'm taking the Rams in this game.
Oh,
I knew that was coming. I knew it.
And look, I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. But I think that new stadium, the Rams playing in that new stadium in LA, combined with the fact that the Buccaneers secondary has been very underwhelming, I think, compared to what we thought this defense would be. We thought it'd be pretty shut down, but their secondary has shown vulnerability. They have injuries. They're actually reaching out to Richard Sherman. They might sign him because of some of the injuries that have happened to their secondary. And I mean, we're talking about Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp has been going off. He's done great. I think the Rams will be able to put up enough points, and obviously possibly the best defense in the league can do enough to stymie Tom Brady. And really, Tom Brady, if you pressure him up the middle, those are some of his worst games, when he gets disturbed up the middle. And you put Aaron Donald in there. We just saw him obviously play the Colts. He was disruptive all day long, even going up against Big Q. So I imagine Aaron Donald will make things tough for this team, and I think the Rams can pull out a win.
Okay. Zach and I are taking – go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm looking it up right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. The Rams are favored by 1.5.
Okay. It really doesn't surprise me being at home. And And it wouldn't surprise me if the Rams win this game. I mean, it really wouldn't.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game to watch. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What time slot is it in? Does anybody know? 4:00 time slot? Why isn't this Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, it's 4:25 on Fox.
Oh, they messed up. This should be prime time.
Yeah. I can't believe. Can they still change it? Or is it too late? What's the lockout?
It's probably too late to slot that in.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, next up, Seahawks at the Vikings. Vikings. You know what they've done now? They're forcing me to take the Seahawks, and that pisses me off. That's all I have to say about that.
You're in a dilemma there. Okay. Yeah, I'm also going to take the Seahawks. I don't think the Seahawks are as good as everybody thinks they are. They should have won against the Titans. They should be 2-0 right now, but they're 1-1. But the Vikings they're just not looking good, man. They haven't for over a season now. They just haven't been the team that we thought they were capable of being. So with that, yeah, I'm going to roll with the Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks too. Even if this is a close game, what have the first two games shown us? They showed us that the Vikings can't close it out. They can't finish it. So when it comes down to it, I think Russell Wilson and his group of guys around him can make more magic than the Vikings and what they have. It's really more of not having the faith in Kirk Cousins, because I think Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson are two of the better receivers in the entire league. But I don't think they're going to be able to do enough to beat Seattle even at home.
Yeah, and you know what will happen is now that I have picked the Seahawks, the Vikings will probably win. I don't know what it is.
That's a good point. I might have to pick the Vikings on this.
I wouldn't be upset if you did. All right, Packers at the Niners. I don't have a whole lot for this. As of the recording of this show, the Packers haven't played yet, so we're still only as good as our last game, which was I saw something that said if you threw every pass in the ground, if you were a quarterback threw every pass in the ground, you'd have a higher QB rating than what if you didn't make a completion, every pass was thrown directly in the ground, you'd have a higher QB rating than what Aaron Rodgers has right now after his
week 1 performance. But it's week 2 against the Lions. That's going to change.
I know, but they're going to win, right? The Packers and the Niners, right?
Yeah, the Packers and the Niners week 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and they're playing the Lions tonight. I'm sorry. All right. Sometimes I gotta hire somebody to keep me on task, and then probably part time, and then full time. They'll be feeding me soon, and then changing my diaper in no time. I just don't. So the Packers are going to beat the Lions, and I don't know how badly. Right? I think I know what's going to happen, but we still don't know. So if they come out and just throttle the Lions by 6 touchdowns, then I have a different opinion. But as of right now, if they play mediocre against the Lions and they're headed out to San Francisco, and the Niners are 2-0 playing at home, I may have to take the Niners, but I'm gonna have to wait and see what happens tonight before I make a decision on this.
Yeah, so the Niners are kind of worrying me. Week 1, they won 41-33 against the Lions, and then week 2 they barely got out of Philadelphia with a win. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Niners. Obviously, they're 2-0. I know they have a lot of injuries happening again, just like last season. I'm pretty sure all their running backs are hurt. But the Packers, obviously, by now everybody will know how they played on Monday night against the Detroit Lions. I'm anticipating Aaron Rodgers to snap and go off and play like he did last year, just completely fuming from his week 1 performance. So I'm actually going to take the Packers to beat the 49ers in week 3.
I think the Packers are about to do to the Lions what the Bills did to the Dolphins. So when they come into week 3, kind of like Zach, the 49ers don't look like the team that I think we expected. The Eagles 49ers game was the most boring game of the weekend. Not really anything happening. There was a little bit of fireworks once Garoppolo and the offense kind of got going in the second half. They put enough points up to hold off the Eagles. But I don't think the 49ers have what it takes right now to beat Green Bay. And I think, after a couple weeks here, probably, right around week 6 or so, seems like a realistic timeline that we're going to see Trey Lance start to get some more playing time.
All right. So I missed who you said you were taking, Hefe.
Taking the Packers.
Yeah, Zach and Hefe are taking the Packers. I'm tentatively taking the Niners. That is subject to change for sure. And just there might be a throttling going on in Detroit tonight. All right. Eagles at the Cowboys. Big NFC East matchup that is a little bigger than I thought. The Eagles are showing some signs of life, or at least showing some signs that they're not just going to lie down and take it on the chin. And the NFC East, these interdivision games, all bets are off. Eagles' resilience, but the Cowboys are a better team. The Cowboys are home. I'm taking them boys. I can't believe I just said
that. Oh, yeah. So if I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I'm feeling pretty good right now. You had a huge win week 1 against the Atlanta Falcons. You had a pretty close game against the 49ers, a game in which you could have won. However, they only scored 11 points, which is kind of worrisome. But regardless, I'm feeling good about my team, how they're progressing, how they're playing. In regards to the Cowboys on the flip side, I'm feeling the same way about them. Dak Prescott's looking pretty good. He was 23 for 27, 237 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick against the Chargers, but they got the job done 120-17. But I think this is the week where Philadelphia sneaks in there and upsets Dallas in their home stadium.
Yeah, I think, the Dallas defense, I think, benefited from the offense being more balanced. We didn't see Dak Prescott throwing 50-plus and having to have 400 yards. We saw, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard combined for 29 carries and 180 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. They were obviously able to do just enough to be able to get past the Chargers, and I think they'll be able to do enough to get past the Eagles. Again, I think the Dallas defense has surprised me, just like the Raiders defense has been a little bit better, and I expected it to be. Dan Quinn is doing something right there with that team, and so I think it works again, especially being at home. Cowboys feel like the safe pick here.
All right, Jeff and I are taking the safe pick with the Cowboys, and Zach's going all rogue on us, and he's trying to please his new Philadelphia Eagles family up there.
Nah, I'm just telling you how it's going to be, because I'm sliding back up there. I'm coming for that number 1 spot in the Pigskin Pick'em League.
All right. Well, that does it for this week. We want to remind you to show us some love, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. And tell all your friends who are on WUBI Radio, too. Be sure to give them the URL, which is WUBI.live. We are on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's never too late to join us in our Pigskin Pick'em Challenge. Find the link pinned at the top of our Facebook and Twitter pages at Horsemen Sports, or just go to ESPN Pigskin Pick'em and search for Horsemen Sports there, and join the fun. So we announce the weekly winners each show, and the overall winners and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, we will see you back here next week again for week 4. Until then, thanks for joining us. Deuces.